Islam Makhachev is known today as one of the most dominant fighters of his generation. But long before the championships and the bright lights of the UFC, his story began in Dagestan, Russia. Born in 1991, Islam grew up in a region famous for producing elite combat athletes. He started training from a young age and developed the discipline, wrestling and grappling skills that would eventually define his fighting style. One of the most important influences in his journey was Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, the father and coach of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Islam trained alongside Khabib, and over the years they became close teammates and friends. Before reaching the UFC, Islam competed in combat sambo and became a world champion. In 2010, he began his professional MMA career, quickly building an undefeated record and establishing himself as one of Dagestan's most promising fighters. In 2015, Islam made his UFC debut and won by submission. But only months later, he suffered the first defeat of his professional career when Adriano Martins knocked him out in the opening round. Islam didn't allow that defeat to define his career. He returned more patient, more calculated, and increasingly difficult to beat. The victories began to pile up. His opponents knew that Islam wanted to wrestle, control them against the cage and dominate them on the ground. Knowing the strategy was one thing. Stopping it was another. Islam defeated fighters including Arman Tsarukyan, Drew Dober, Thiago Moises, Dan Hooker and Bobby Green as he climbed toward the top of the lightweight division. Then, in October 2022, his championship opportunity finally arrived. Islam faced Charles Oliveira for the vacant UFC lightweight title. Oliveira was one of the most dangerous finishers in UFC history, but Islam controlled the fight and submitted him with an arm triangle choke in the second round. Islam Makhachev was finally UFC champion. His next challenge came against Alexander Volkanovski, who moved up from featherweight. Their first fight lasted 5 rounds, with Islam winning by unanimous decision. Later that year, they fought again. This time, Islam left no doubt, finishing Volkanovski in the first round with a head kick. The victory showed that Islam was becoming much more than an elite grappler. His striking had become another serious weapon. In 2024, Dustin Poirier challenged him for the championship. Poirier survived deep into the fight, but Islam eventually submitted him with a Darce choke in the 5th round. Islam continued his reign in 2025, submitting Renato Moicano in the first round and completing a 4th successful defense of the lightweight championship. But instead of remaining at lightweight, Islam decided to chase something even bigger. He vacated the title and moved up to welterweight. In November 2025, he faced Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight championship. After 5 rounds, Islam won by unanimous decision and became a UFC champion in a second weight division. From a young fighter training in Dagestan to reaching the top of 2 UFC divisions, Islam Makhachev built his career through discipline, patience and relentless consistency. And with his journey still continuing, the biggest question is simple: how far can Islam Makhachev go?